so long it's like alchemy.
In 1989, Run TMC was formed. Tim Hardaway, a lightning-quick point guard who made the crossover famous, aka the Killer Crossover. Mitch Richmond, aka The Rock, a bulldog shooting guard who Michael Jordan called his toughest matchup. And Chris Mullin, think of him as a left-handed Larry Bird with less swag, aka Beta Bird. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all. Mully was nice. Led by Don Nelson, otherwise known as Nelly, they would make the playoffs but played no defense. Think D'Antoni-led teams. 1991, they traded Mitch 80 miles north to the Kings for the rights to Billy Owens, a player that Nelly highly coveted but didn't live up to the hype. In 1993, the Warriors find themselves back in the lottery. Depending on how you see it, luck has it, a young Shaq wanting to play with its blue-chip co-star, one Penny Hardaway, opened the door for Golden State to trade for the #1 pick and Fab Five's Chris Webber. C. Webb lived up to the hype, winning Rookie of the Year, but Nelly wanted him to play center and operate in the post. Webber, one of the first modern bigs who could handle and run the floor, wanted to play like a guard and show those skills. In his second season, the two continued to butt heads, and the franchise did something you never see in basketball. They chose the coach over the star, sending Webber to Washington for Tom Gugliotta, aka Googs. But he was quickly flipped into rookie Donyell Marshall, one of the first true stretch big men the league had seen. There was no doubting his talent, but his want and motor were another thing. In the 94-95 season, Nelly stepped down as coach, though he would later claim he was forced out. The franchise would be blessed with the bounces of the lottery balls that June and landed the #1 pick. Now, to be fair, Maryland star Joe Smith was the consensus #1 pick that year, and he had a good career. Think Sean Livingston, except a power forward. Smart, versatile, and a good teammate, but not a star. But meanwhile, KG, taken 4 picks later, was reinventing the power forward position as we knew it. That was just one of countless misses the Warriors would make in the draft, and not only that decade, but the preceding one as well. 1996, many consider the greatest draft class of all time. It was like sending someone into a strip club blindfolded. Chances are, you still were gonna grab something nice. Golden State grabbed Todd Fuller. 1997, the 8th pick, it was a Donald Foyle, who might be the smartest, nicest guy to ever play in the league, but he was probably better off not even coming down the court on offense. The one bright spot through the mid-90s was one Latrell Sprewell. Spree for 3! Drafted 24th in the 92 draft, Spree had become the leader and lone all-star on this team. Think Tony Allen with a jumper. He and then coach PJ Carlesimo weren't getting along. One day during practice, Spree threatened to kill PJ. After practice, he tried. Well, maybe not, but he choked the shit out of him. Sprewell would be suspended 68 games and would never wear a Warriors uniform again. What did the Warriors get back for the temperamental all-star? The original Mr. Irrational Confidence himself, John Starks, Chris Mills, and a 40-year-old Terry Cummings. Starks had nothing left. The best thing Mills did was block Portland's bus after a game and threaten Bonzi Wells with a pistol. But that's a story for another time. 98 would find the organization making another draft day trade. This time it was for teammates. Golden State traded Vince Carter to the Raptors for Antoine Jamison. Now, Twan went on to become the face of the franchise, a franchise that was winning 30 games a year. Meanwhile, Vince Sanity was leading the Raptors to the playoffs every year. Oh yeah, and there was that brief moment we thought Larry Hughes was the next Tracy McGrady. You know the saying though, even a broken clock is right twice a day. And finally, in 2001, the Warriors had themselves a draft. With the 5th pick, they took Jason Richardson, aka Jay Rich, a super athletic guard out of Michigan State, but he still had to learn to dribble and shoot. To his credit, he did. With the 11th pick, it was 6'11" Troy Murphy. Troy was pretty much a finished product coming out of Notre Dame, and he was ready to contribute right away. And with the 31st pick, they selected Gilbert Shittin' Shoes Arenas, who ended up being the most talented of all 3. The draft gave the fans something they hadn't really felt since '93, a sense of hope. But 2 years later, the Warriors could not match the contract offer of now rising star Gilbert Arenas, which in turn formed the Arenas rules, allowing teams to match those offers. Now, hold on. If you truly want to stake claim to being a Warriors fan, you must hate these 2 players, Eric Dampier and Andris Biedrins. While they may look completely different, trust me, they're exactly the same where it counts. So without going into any further detail, if one of them is ever brought up, you must wrinkle your face as if you've caught the whiff of something foul. All right, back to the timeline, where we're at. 2005. Sitting in mediocrity with nothing to lose, the Warriors took a chance on an often injured, disgruntled Baron Davis, hoping a change of scenery would revive the infinitely talented point guard. It did. And a year later, they traded for two more disgruntled talents in Al Harrington and Steve Jackson. Oh yeah, they decided to bring back an older and even kookier Don Nelson. Somehow, the team had stumbled across the recipe for magic, mixing strong personalities and talent, all with chips on their shoulder and a mad sorcerer to stir the pot, and you have the We Believe run. Knocking off the #1 seed Mavs in the first round after making the playoffs on the last day of the regular season. It was lightning in a bottle, and as quick as it happened, it was over. Trading away Jay Rich and letting Baron go home to play in LA, this is where a young Monte Ellis stepped in as the new star of the team, waiting his time behind the alpha that was BD, and with the reinvented Stack Jack, Steven Jackson, and Al Harrington, they felt like they were one piece away from competing. Going into the 2009 draft, the Warriors had a deal in place with the Phoenix Suns. It was going to be the #7 pick and some other pieces for then superstar Amari Stoudemire. But when Steph Curry slid all the way to the 7th pick, shout out Minnesota, good old Nelly balked on the deal. This outraged the current roster, who thought they were going to become an instant contender. So out went the remainder of the We Believe team with the exception of Monte. What many fail to realize is the biggest thing that happened during this mess was the sale of the team. In steps Joe Lacob, cleaning house of the old regime, trading fan favorite Monte and handing the keys to a young chef. And maybe most importantly, hiring super agent Bob Myers as the new GM. What many of you don't realize is Bob's best move, it wasn't drafting Klay Thompson or Draymond Green in the 2nd round, or even landing the big fish in one Kevin Durant. It was taking a leap of faith in a young Steph Curry. Now Steph, coming off his rookie contract, couldn't stay on the court, kept spraining his ankle. It doesn't sound serious, but it was serious enough for him to have off-season ankle surgery. But the Warriors front office and Bob believed in Steph and offered him what was at the time a generous contract of 4 years, $44 million. Now, without this discounted contract, there's no way Golden State would have been able to sign Andre Iguodala or retain Draymond Green after he outperformed his rookie deal. People around the country are so quick to say, oh, I hate the Warriors and I hate their bandwagon fans. Well, I got news for you. There's a lot of us that have been suffering for so long, and what goes around comes around. So to all you true Warrior fans out there, let's stop and smell the roses. We deserve this.